Glory Oguegbu is an Obama scholar, award-winning climate specialist, energy transition entrepreneur, and author promoting clean, renewable energy access. As founder and CEO of the Renewable Energy Technology Training Institute, RETI, and the RETI Virtual University for Energy Education, please join me to welcome Glory Oguegbu. Just take a few videos.
10 years ago, my parents moved to a community that was off the grid. They built their own house in a community that was without electricity. And I experienced what it was like to live without access to electricity. Now, I thought about the fact that Nigeria had sun in abundance. Why isn't solar popular here? But I learned a very painful discovery that there were littered solar installations that had stopped working. They were all failed. I recognized three problems with this issue: a lack of a skilled and trained workforce who will distribute solar solutions that are sustainable, an influx of fake solar panels into the market, and uneducated, beneficiaries themselves who did not know how to use the solar system. So I created the Renewable Energy Technology Training Institute to prepare skilled workers who will advance access to electricity. 87 million people in Nigeria are living without access to electricity. This has hampered economic development across the country. There are traders posing as installers, therefore installing solutions that fail after a while. Today, on our grounds, the Renewable Energy Technology Training Institute is training and preparing a skilled workforce. As you can see behind me, some of our students are currently practicing how to install a quality solar panel to generate electricity that will service millions in Nigeria who are living without access. I wanted to show you what the RETI is all about: promoting skills to young people in Nigeria who can utilize those skills to solve the problem of electricity access for 87 million people who are living without access to electricity. RETI works with trained and qualified skilled instructors who themselves have outside experience with solar PV installation to teach our students.
RETI sets the benchmark for excellence in renewable energy education.
Precision, expertise, innovation. RETI, committed to your solar success.
At RETI, quality is not a promise, it is a standard.
We also have courses on hydropower, energy efficiency and management in building, onshore wind, bioenergy, and climate change courses, helping our students to have an all-rounded overview about the renewable energy industry and how they can create and sustain a business. Today, RETI has trained 3,000 solar technicians littered across Nigeria. They have provided access to clean solar-powered electricity for 25,000 Nigerians, offsetting 840,000 tons of carbon dioxide. 35% of them have created their own solar businesses or are working within solar power companies. They have also employed over 1,000 people. So you can see, RETI is the place.
My name is Babatunde from Group 3, and these are my group member. And this is a mini substation built by Group 3 during our training. It is a 1 kVA power generation by 1 kVA inverter, 12 volts, and 40 amps 12 volt battery. So we started our connection with the batteries because it is necessary to start with the batteries. So the batteries was connected to the surge protector for the DC surge protector in the combined box and the breaker. So when it was connected to that, we connected from the DC breaker to this charge controller, and from the charge controller we connected to our solar panel. Then we also connected our inverter to the battery as well, which made the completion of the circuit. From our output now, we have our switch, which is controlling our bulb, which is 10 watt bulb. Also, we maximize what we generated by charging our phones, our Wi-Fi. So that is what we have done in Group 3.
Wow. I was just asking her what her background is. You know, what would have felt it's easy, if you're an engineer or something, you know, to get into that. But she's urban and regional planning. That's it. That's her background. And here she is. She's creating a solution that not just creates employment, it's solving problems, and it's also meeting part of our SDG goals. Glory, you know, you're doing so many great and awesome stuff. So we're curious to ask, what sparked your passion, you know, for clean energy technologies and environmental sustainability?
Of course, thank you very much. My story started as a youth corper.
Wow.
I was posted to a rural community, and I told myself that I was going to make a difference there. And that was how the story started. 200 widows languishing in hunger and poverty, staying on the road, and I asked myself, what can I do to create change? At first, I was inspired by the fact that I could get an award. But when I engaged in this work, I saw that this could quite well be the beginning to something that can be more than me. And that was precisely what happened. And find a problem to solve. It is often the start to something that will open up doors for you. 2014, when I finished my youth service, the project that I did in the youth service for 200 widows, we created a cassava factory for them to process.
Wow.
So that they could package goods that they would sell in the market, export, and meet the local needs in the community. Just that little action opened the doors to meeting President Obama the next year.
Wow.
And that was where I met Ejiro, by the way.
Oh, really?
In 2015, both of us were recipients of that award. I met President Obama because I took action as a youth corper in the previous year. To be honest, I did not have the tools or the equipment. I did not have the opportunity or the connection. I only saw a problem, and I took action to try and solve it. I wrote proposals to several local government. I got 85% rejection. But the 15% that I got help enabled us to build that factory and support 200 women get jobs. Not just jobs, get food, be able to feed their children and family. I am still reaping 12 years later from the rewards of doing that action 12 years ago. The reason I shared that story is to tell you, not just youth corpers, any young person here, you do have a platform. Many of you think you have no platform, or that you have no opportunity, or that because of the way me and Ejiro are here on the stage, we started in our 20s. I started as 22 years old as a corper, that we had help. No, we did not have help. We did not know somebody in government. It was simply a dream and not being weighed down by rejection. That was how I started my first nonprofit, by the fact that that project I started then worked. And a lot of doors opened for me after that. Please, mind you that I suffered a lot. The suffering was not out of it, please. So I'm not telling you something you could engage in that would then make your life easy. In fact, your life is going to get harder. But the rewards, you will feel fulfilled because you will meet needs of people. And by meeting needs of people, needs of the community, you will open doors for yourself. So why did I start? Why did my passion start for clean energy? How did renewable energy come into it? In 2015, my parents moved to their own house that they built, which is a thing that most parents do these days. Work so hard, build your own home, isn't it? Buy a land and build your own home. But the community where they then moved into was off the grid. Off the grid means without electricity. I don't know how many of you have lived in a place before that had no electricity. Can you show hands?
Can they survive?
Great. I thought we were all in Lagos and we've never seen that. Oh my God. So you know how that life is. That was not how my life started, but it started when my parents then moved to that part. That year, I came back from the US, and I had learned about renewable energies in the US, that the sun can give you electricity. And I'm like, so why are these communities without access? Yet we have the sun. Africa has 60% of the world's sunshine. Yet only 1% of that sunshine is utilized.
1%?
Yes. All the solar you're seeing now in Lagos is just 1%. We have a lot more sun than that. So I told myself, how could I do something about this? Not just for the problem, but for my parents. That was the inspiration, actually. Seeing them living there without electricity, using diesel generator all the time. In the daytime, there wouldn't be light. My siblings would go out in the community to charge phones and live life like that. So one day I came across a community center clinic that has solar panels. And I'm like, wow, solar panels are here in the community. But I found out that they don't work. So I'm like, wow, the whole world is talking solar. How come this one here is failing? I looked into it and found 3 big problems with that. Lack of a skilled workforce, solar installers who do not know what's going on and they put panel on your roof. It fails after a while. Beneficiaries themselves who don't understand how to use solar. Because they now have light, they invite all the neighbors. They plug everything. Solar system design can only work with that person's energy consumption and use. So lack of education on the side of those who receive solar installation. And the importation of substandard products. Because the technology was nascent, people did not quite know well about how solar works. They don't know how to find out the fake solar panels or not. So that problem was the beginning of me trying to find a solution. I realized that most of it are around education. We need to train engineers who are graduating from school on how to install solar that will last. Not just that, traders in the market. I'm sure many of you see people who sell solar panels on the road.
Yeah.
Many of them do not know the engineering behind installing it on your home. They think it's like a generator, how to install generators. They put up these solar panels and it fails after 1 year because there is lack of education in that entire value chain. Those who receive, those who install, and those who sell. You see electricians on the road who people call, please, can you come and look at my solar system? But electricians are not trained on the engineering of solar system. Now, that was a big problem that was causing solar systems to fail and not last. So if we're trying to solve the problem of lack of electricity for 93 million Nigerians, how do we ensure that the solar we're giving them is even lasting? I'm sure some of you here have seen solar systems that stopped working. It is as a result of that and also that poor maintenance culture from people. And that was why we created the Renewable Energy Technology Training Institute. It was one of the first ones in 2018 that began to train people. Before we knew it, we found out that a lot of people were in fact interested in learning solar as a skill. So we learned that not only just engineers can learn solar, that other people, young people, could learn it and then start it like a skill, a business. So now we have even trained people that are not engineers who then start providing that service. Energy audits, solar design, installation, repair, marketing and sales. There are lots of ways in the value chain to make money. So that one problem that affected my family, my loved ones, because I think it's really simple to describe a problem when you're not facing it. Like Ejiro said, it's so simple to just talk about it, hold panels about it. Until you leave that situation, your outlook will change. That's what happened to me when I lived without electricity with my parents. I now got to feel what the others who live like that are in fact saying. So that was what inspired me to start.
Thank you very much. We'll be taking live questions.
My name is David. I'm visually impaired. Okay, my question is going to Glory. With all the fantastic things I heard about RETI, what they do, and the whole thing, I was asking myself, so part of the whole SDG is also talking about carrying everybody along, like leaving no man behind. So in RETI, in what aspect are you carrying persons with disabilities? Because as a visually impaired person, I don't think, to an extent, I can do solar installation. I don't think I'll be comfortable enough to climb, heights, connecting, doing certain connections. Same thing for persons on wheelchairs. We have people with a small stature. So in what aspects is RETI as an institution carrying persons with disabilities along in the area of renewable energy? Thank you.
Thank you for asking it. That's why I'm happy that there are several aspects of solar PV design and installation where people with disability can fit into. Let me just list the value chains for you. There is what we call solar PV design. It involves calculation, where you will conduct what we are calling an energy audit for a home. And you can work with installers to execute your design. What it means is this. Somebody who is visually impaired, for example, could determine what the system size can be for a bank, for a 3-bedroom flat, for a house, for a barber. These types of businesses all have different power consumptions. So through the solar PV design is one of the ways that somebody who is visually impaired can sit and do basic calculations and then give that to installers to install and still benefit financially from that business model, right? So one way we do this is that when we welcome, in April, we received people with disabilities visit us because they also wanted to see how they could be a part. And we had the opportunity to showcase that to them and explain all the different aspects, you know, and we worked with an NGO called Impact Her, who we have now introduced them to for possible partnership. Now, Impact Her is going to work with us to support some of those people with disabilities, depending on what they can do. So I like that he made those disparities. Those on the wheelchair can design PV systems, they can conduct energy audits, they can visit houses and do what we're calling an energy audit, see what the house energy requirement is, how many bulbs, how many fans, how many TVs, what their wattages are, and be able to calculate what size of solar system can work for that. And then your colleague in this class with you can now be the good installer. So that colleague can now use that design and install it on the roof. So we're about also next year, from next year, we're going to start providing those opportunities. Our trainings are paid, but of course, we will now create an initiative to provide support for PWDs who cannot afford to get this training. And we will carry you along for what your skill can do. Design, energy auditing, marketing, and sales. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have one live question here.
I'm totally inspired by what Madam Glory has been doing, and live in a community where we have poor waste management and which has resulted in flooding. How can someone access maybe a guide or mentorship or even a partner that can help us achieve this goal?
I really love to see young people who find problems in the society and take steps to solve it. So well done. You have started well. What came to my mind when you were talking was that, I don't know if you know this organization called YLS. So they do a lot of work as well that is similar. So what I can do for you is to check and see if they have mentorship programs, and I can bring that to your attention. So another thing that I would say, local community action is very impactful. What can you do? It's important to start doing what you can do now. Let me give you a quick example. In my community, erosion is a big issue. We later found that the people dump waste, which blocks the water passageway, which now encourages that erosion. What we did one day, let me tell you what happened. I visited that location one time with the former Minister of Environment, and I spoke up because the communities were asking for money. So they kept saying, give us money. If you give us money, we will do this and that. And I could immediately see what they could do to solve it. So I just spoke up that. I don't know if they really liked me very much after that, after what I said. Maybe they thought I removed the opportunity from them. I said, please, from what I can see here, you can load bags of sand and place here. If you place bags of sand here, you can reduce some of the impact until the time that you get the money. Yeah. I'm just saying that to say, what can you start doing? Put that up on social media. You will attract the funds that you need when people see the change and difference that you're making. So pending the time when, of course, you get that mentorship you're looking for, just start doing these little actions and announce it.
Building credibility.
And can I say something quickly, that when I started our company, RETI, I had no support. I think I mentioned that before. I also had no office, no curriculum, nothing at all, just like you're also starting out. The one thing that I had was social media. I think I said it before. I said, you have a platform. Whether people are liking your posts or whether they're commenting, people are seeing what you are putting out. Yeah. That was what helped us. When we held our first training, I just put that up on the internet. Nobody liked it, nobody commented. I just kept putting it up. Consistency. 1 year later, in fact, before we started, let me just say that quickly to answer her. Before we started properly, I had been trying to apply for funds. It's not good to sit and wait with your skills. Don't sit and wait for opportunity with your skills. I came back from the US then, so I was like, oh, I have all these contacts abroad. Let me just write to them. They know me. They know I'm doing a good work. That did not work, surprisingly. They did not give me any money. For 2 years, I wrote. My idea was so good. I wrote all these bullet points, how it would change the nation. Nobody answered until I started putting out my work. Now, let me tell you what happened. I just put out my work on social media, and I tried to do projects. I looked for somebody that could give me a free hall. I couldn't afford to rent a hall. I looked for a contact who gave me a curriculum from Arizona State University for solar training. Then I looked for one other engineer who can teach. Together, we put out an advert. Do you know, to my surprise, 14 people paid us money. 14. Now, this was in 2018. It's hard for people to pay for stuff, right? But 14 people paid money. I'm like, wow. But if I had not put out this, if I had kept waiting for the grants, I wouldn't have even known that people were willing to pay. So, after the first training, we did 3 that year. So I told myself, I'll register this organization as a company. And I did. At this point, we started announcing and holding trainings. Some of them worked. Many months passed. Some people did not. We canceled some trainings that didn't work. But at the end of 2019, 1 full year after registering, let me tell you something magical that happened. Something interesting happened, and I did not even notice when it happened. Organization reached out to me. We've seen what you're doing. We would like to pay for 15 women.
Wow.
Even as I'm talking about it now, I have goosebumps because I couldn't believe it. I did not know that this thing would work. But by putting your work out there, even though you're not getting likes or comment, I'm hammering on that because young people these days are concerned about that too much. Even if you're not getting views, please, you have to pass the test of perseverance. It happens everywhere. You have to show that you can stay, that you have a staying power. The people who are looking at your post and scrolling past are checking if you have a staying power. They are seeing it. They are not just commenting on like it, but they are seeing it to see if after a while you would stop. So when you stop after a while, they will now relax and know that, okay, you were not really, you have to pass the test. So when that happens, you would see that the opportunity will come to you because you've been able to demonstrate that here is the problem I found. This is the solution that I performed, and here is the impact that that had. That is all you need. I can't tell you guys how much opportunities that myself or the people I've mentored have gotten by putting work outside. That's all I can say.
All right. We have a few questions, but in closing, my name is Aisha. My question goes to Glory. How do you find the drive to keep going as someone who is interested in making impact, as somebody who is interested in solving issues?
Of course. So let me say again, I know that you have heard a lot of things today, and it can feel overwhelming. You are thinking to yourself, where do I start? I have this plan, I have this idea. Here's what I can tell you. Many of you here are already skilled and talented at something. Make sure you educate yourself on that thing and know it well. Now, I'll tell you about the 5 buckets of human potential. I'm sorry, that just came up quickly. There is, the number 1 skill is knowledge, right? Then after that is, the knowledge represents what you know. And after that is skills, number 2. Skills means what you now can do with that thing you know. Number 3 is resources, money, what do you have? Number 4 is network, who do you know? And number 5 is reputation. What do people think about that thing you do? These 5 buckets, without the first 2 skills, knowledge and skills, if you manage somehow to get money, which is the 3rd one, resources, you will not be able to sustain that money without knowledge or skill. Even if you're the president's daughter, even if you know somebody in government, without knowledge and skills, your lack of result will show when you get opportunity. That's why I advise young people, if you're trying to search for a job now, please do not, maybe you don't like me for that, but do not choose a job for money. Choose a job where you will build knowledge and skills first. C, do not run from responsibilities so that you can build knowledge and skills. Knowledge and skills will give you resources. People can come to you and give you jobs that will give you money. Now that you will get that job for money, you will have the skills and knowledge to sustain that. See, when you meet people that are 80 years old, Elon Musk, and people that have made it in life, please notice that it is their knowledge and skill that sustain them there, that brought them the network, the resources, and the reputation they have today. So if you're confused about where to start, get education and skill about an area you like Ejiro said, the area where you think is your calling. Get education and skill for that. Then secondly, partner. Find a partner. That's one thing that helped me. My story where I told you I started, I didn't know what to do. I looked for somebody who can do it. I said, let's run a first pilot together, right? And after doing all that for full 1 year, people came calling. We have a partnership today with Access Bank for the same solar skills that I was looking for money for. So when you do it with somebody else, you can be encouraged to start. Okay, so how do I get a drive? How do I continue? By simply looking at the work that is there to do. The work is always there. Even if you are crying and tired and sleeping, the work will wake you up that there is work to do, wake up. So that opportunity to make impact is really what keeps me going. And you can never fail in life if you keep pushing for impact. The opportunity to grow will become apparent. Don't worry that now you have not seen a way to thrive. If you continue doing what you're doing well, educating yourself and getting the skill and knowledge, attending events like this and talking to people at that event, the path to become prosperous will open up itself.
Thank you very much.